You got a copy, buddy? Day, man. Good luck today. Have a good race, safe race. Alright, bud. So they're getting cleaned up, good. Cover to the green. Green. Come on, keep rolling. There you go. Looking, there, bumper. Door, bumper. Looking inside. All clear. Alright. In the middle. Too wide now. Clear low.
What is going on, guys? This is Nas here, and today we are talking about cameras, the things that have evolved over time, the things that we put in our devices so that we can actually record and take memories out of life and put them in a single SD card. Today we are talking about head cameras, head cams, GoPro mounts, whatever you want to call them, but we are talking about Indycar head cams. Now, I know that some of you, most of you, maybe none of you, I don't know, the Indycar head cam videos, they're basically drivers who go out onto the practice or testing session that they're in, and they basically record with a camera that is mounted to their helmet. Now, this is definitely a thrill. It's definitely an awesome look in. It's an awesome look on the inside of what the driver actually sees and how his head is actually moving around when he's going about 150 into a corner. So it's pretty enticing, and I do love it. But here are some key factors that I really want to think about before we even jump ship to having these cameras in every single race live streaming to the broadcast booth, if they were to even go that route. So I was researching this, and I was thinking, how are they going to put a small enough camera on a driver's head and have it not be super duper heavy when the G-forces and when the weight is multiplied and when everything else seems to be 10 times harder than what it actually was when you were at a dead stop. The thing that I saw on roadandtrack.com is that ever since NBC Sports Network has added in these cameras, it's been a crowd pleaser. Definitely, you get to see the inside driver viewpoint of the driver's view, basically. But they strategically put 4 cameras on the Dallara DW12 or DW12 Dallara, however you want to call it. It's a Dallara, but of course they're having spec bodywork spec. How do you say it? Basically kits for the IndyCar Verizon series for 2018, which are supposed to look pretty decent and pretty awesome. So I can't wait for that to happen. But one of the features that has been rattling in my head ever since I was watching one of the IndyCar videos is, what if they did put a head cam on every driver's head just to give that extra live stream, extra feature that viewers can see to kind of help promote IndyCar and promote fan base of IndyCar. As some of you may know, IndyCar is not IndyCar is pretty good at their market. They're better off than what they were a couple of years ago, but they're still not as big as, say, NASCAR or even F1. But I really think that F1, just because it's around the world mostly, that's usually why. Plus, it's been in the ranks for so long. But it's really been hard for the fan base to actually grow again. It's pretty much been at a stalemate. But recently, IndyCar has been growing their YouTube channel, expanding out into different social media networks, and they've done a good job, in my opinion. But back to the actual cameras. They have 4 different cameras that is basically mounted to the car that are inside. some of the parts of the car, and it's really enticing to see what's in here. So according to roadandtrack.com, unlike last year's cars that typically carried a single camera, granted this was reported May 30th, 2012, so yeah, that's a long time. Anyway, there's 4 different cams that they have. They have the roll hoop, which is a 360-degree view camera. They have a camera inside the right mirror, which helps with all the awesome fist pumping in the air when they want to race, you know. They have the camera that is on the right end plate of the rear wing, and a camera that's in the right radiator duct, pointed forward at the front wheel. So there's 4 different ones that is pretty key in how they showcase what's going on inside the car and outside of the car. So one of the biggest things is that these cameras are somehow not really having a huge effect on aero or having a huge effect on weight. These cameras, believe it or not, are actually 7.5 pounds, and yeah, that's not a lot, but it definitely adds a little weight. So what they basically did, they made dummy cams, which Empty Box had replied to one of my comments that I made on the Indycar Head Cam video, is that they could put dummy cams on there, so on the helmet, which is nice, but I don't know if that's gonna really be the greatest thing in the world for the driver per se, because they're already worried about the lightest helmet possible, but the maximum safest protection possible on that driver's head. But even if you did add the dummy camera, how much would that weigh? Because in total, 4 cameras on each car is adding up about 7.5 pounds, which initially they try to scrub off all the weight as possible so that they can get the maximum power and speed out of the car. So that's definitely something that they do worry about. But anyway, if you were to add a camera on top of the helmet, would that make the driver uncomfortable? How noticeable will it be after about, let's say, 50 laps in the run, or the end of the race? How tired would their neck be? Granted, their necks get pretty huge because of all the G-forces that they have to deal with, and this is, this is pretty enticing. But regardless, even if you were to work out even more for that weight that's added to your helmet, would we really need to have these cameras installed? Would we really need these cameras to be installed for the races? Could they just stay as the practice? Could they stay for qualifying maybe? Or can these actually be cameras that they use for live broadcasts on television, networks, social medias, and everything that they showcase? One of the cameras that they have, which the camera that I'm talking about, is the right end plate of the rear wing. It's pretty much on the right rear wing, which they have to detach in the event that the rear wing falls off or gets knocked off because someone doesn't brake, or because someone spins out and turns the car around and hits the wall. They have to take off certain pieces. So what if a IndyCar driver has to exchange a helmet? For instance, when, I'm not entirely sure who this was, but it was an IndyCar driver that was watching a race and his headset in his helmet was not working, so they had to exchange that helmet for the other helmet that had another headset in it so that they can actually communicate to that driver. Otherwise, he was not getting anything, and he couldn't really communicate to his team, which would be really bad. But what if you have to change that helmet? Do you have an extra camera on there? It's a lot of things that play out into it. Maybe IndyCar will look into this. Maybe create some sort of small camera that could possibly go inside the helmet and not violate the safety licensed features that it has. Even if they have everything covered, even if they have everything that they need as far as safety, as far as aerodynamics and weight, is it really needed is my question. It would be a great tool for maybe the drivers and the actual crew chiefs and the race team itself. But my question is, who is going to be watching the head cams? Are they just gonna have it live broadcast, or is it gonna be a special, like, you have to buy basically a live stream of that driver specifically, or use an app, or is it gonna be on a website, or is it gonna be on NBC? Who knows? You know, it's a lot of things to really take into account when you're talking about a head cam that's going to be sitting on a driver's face or their helmet for an entire 2.5 hours to about 3.5 hours tops. It's a lot to think about, but I'm pretty sure one day we'll probably have head cams that are actually small enough to not really affect the driver and also not affect the aerodynamics of that helmet or safety of that helmet. But this is NASCAR Indy here, signing out, because yeah, it's definitely something to think about. And I'm probably going to do a little bit more research. Right now it's just bare minimum research, but I just wanted to throw this out here because yeah, it's a topic that I actually like and I want to see. I want to see more head cams, you know? It'd be nice if we could see it in qualifying and see it in races potentially, but gotta think of everything and gotta make sure we have the best foot forward possible. So with that being said, as always, drive safe, be smart, but most of all, with everything that you do, have fun.